And we are now in record mode. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, city attorney. My name is TJ Knight. I'm acting executive officer. We have Commissioner Corsand, Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Chavez, Commissioner Kang, and Commissioner Mitchell joining us this morning. We do have a quorum. We are joined also by City Attorney Representative Thomas Costello Vega. Once again, I'm TJ Knight, acting executive officer. And today's agenda is unique because we have an item that we'll get to after public comment. But first, I will go ahead and take public comment. We do have a number of folks on the Zoom call that have requested to hear public comment. And so we'll go ahead and start with Audit LA. Audit LA, you have 2 minutes to offer your commentary.
Yes, good morning, commissioners, and congratulations to the newly seated commissioners. Can you hear me? Because I think my Zoom is looking weird.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I want to discuss what I've been discussing, what I've been here to discuss. On L. Ron Hubbard Way in Fountain, the continuous abuse of the Church of Scientology with the non-ADA compliant planters. For me, coming to continuously ask you to make it ADA compliant. And I hear there is, I know there's work happening on that, but it really hasn't been enough. And it's really ridiculous because now I'm getting not death threats, but death and somebody named Mr. D'Amato at the behest of Janet Wieland, who's his handler with Church of Scientology. Okay, they are putting it out there. He is, to suggest that somebody should bash my head in or do other physical harm, because I'm here asking for the government to ask them to abide by the laws of ADA compliance when it comes to these 250 planters. 250 planters. I've been coming here since June begging for this. It's not fair to the ADA community, and it's not fair that I now have to look over my shoulder because I have somebody on the internet instigating someone to kill me, basically, to bash my head in would likely kill me because of planters. And it's so ridiculous. And I am asking this nightmare to end. I'm not going away because I'm adamant. I'm not going to let the Church of Scientology scare me into shutting up about these planters. I refuse. But I shouldn't have to face death, fearing going anywhere that somebody might take up their offer and bash my skull in. This is how bad it's getting. Can somebody please do something?
Thank you, Audit LA. That's 2 minutes. And we'll go next to Gigi's phone, followed by Ramona. Go ahead, Gigi's phone. You have 2 minutes to offer your comment.
Hi. So I wanted to bring up something different. I think we've touched on this before, but I wanted to bring to your awareness that I have a notice of violation in front of me from the City of Los Angeles Department of Public Works, Bureau of Street Services, and it's reference number 2024006397. And it says the date of violation was August 7th, 2024. That's about 3 months ago. And it's saying that the violation description, other obstructions on street, sidewalk, parkway, and then non-standard vegetation, thorny plants. To this day, those thorny plants are still on the address listed on here, which is 1300 North Catalina. And I'm wondering what's going on with these violations when people do not comply with them. It's been about 3 months. Those rose bushes are still out there on the public easement. They have gotten a violation and it says comply with this notice at once. Why are the roses still there? And then I just want to say, echoing, what Audit's saying, it's scary to speak out about this stuff. They send people after you, like maybe not physically, but they'll look up stuff online. They'll put you on blast. They'll make swatting calls. It's dangerous doing this. So the people talking about this, just know we're taking risks speaking out about this. We're not just crazy talking, you know, about the, who would want to have to deal with the repercussions of this? So I hope that you guys listen to us. I hope the new people are better at listening than some other people I've dealt with. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Gigi Sloan. And we'll move next to Ramona. Ramona, you should be receiving a pop-up asking you
I
to go ahead.
received it. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Welcome to the new board members. Appreciate you. I would like to talk about L. Ron Hubbard Way, even though I see there are orders for the planners to be moved on L. Ron Hubbard in Fountain, nothing is being done. The road, even though there is not a special events permit, is still blocked on each end, so the fire lane is not consistently open for an emergency. This needs to be taken care of. The permits are not being presented to LAPD or enforced equally. There's no posting, there's no signs for the sidewalk access, the fire lane isn't clear, distribution to all the neighbors within 500 feet is not being done, no ADA porta potty, armed guards are being utilized without proper identification or presentation of ID cards when asked. Permits for tent buildings were not available. Food was being sold, not given. Carnival rides were installed without special permits. Should I go on? Permits should be suspended until all requirements are met, including public receipt of page 2 for the valid permits, not just a printed copy of the applied for permit. We need to know what we are dealing with, and I thank you and yield back my time.
Thank you, Ramona. We'll move next to Barry Bader, followed by Colin User 1.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I also just want to first say thank you to the new commissioners. Welcome to the board. It's wonderful having you here. And I just want to take a step back and sort of give you a 50,000 foot view. From my understanding of why you've heard some of the other commenters so far, you haven't been in this office long, but you should know that there's been long-standing abuse from the cult of Scientology, whether it be disregard of obtaining type R permits to legally blockade public easement, whether it be forging permits to illegally blockade public streets. These are some of the things that have been presented before you today, as well as to the prior commissioners. So you are now basically up to date on what's been going on. This has been going on for several months. Probably one of the major biggest violations is an outright federal violation of not allowing egress and ingress to a public street, particularly for those with disabilities. You're looking at felonies there. Another thing you should know is it's my belief that Commissioner John Grant is probably the most stellar golden example that I hope you new commissioners will follow with. He followed through with a cure and correct last week, where VP Teresa Villegas shamed this board by suppressing public comment. I hope you don't do that. And Attorney Wayne Spindler was there to hold her accountable, filing cure and correct. The city attorney deputy that's sitting before you tried suppressing it and eventually turned around when they realized that's a violation of the Brown Act and there's jail time to pay for that. And we're just here to usher you in a positive and healthy way where you'll behave in accordance with the law.
Thank you.
We really do care about you.
Thank you, Barry. That's 2 minutes. And we'll move next to Colin User 1. Go ahead.
Good morning. Yes, I would like to welcome the new commissioners. This is to the commission as a whole, those experienced and new. As you move forward, I hope that you will consider utilizing more of ADA expertise. It has saddened me over the years when agenda items come forward for projects, quote unquote, completed, only to find out that ADA issues were mishandled, therefore causing a project to have to request additional funds. that it had been part of the plan originally, it wouldn't have been an issue. I'd like to ask that the commission move forward with the following. Recently, Metro at a meeting discussing the 2024 Paris Games best practices, they have a new motto that ADA will be their minimum. They are moving forward with the standard of a universal design. Again, I hope that ADA, considering 2028, there's going to be something happening in the city. But it's as though they're just coming to visit. Please remember, members of and residents of the city of Los Angeles who live here today, who are the heartbeat of Los Angeles, are disabled now. So please do not discuss the disabled community. Oh, we don't need to consider them for 4 more years. They are part of today. And also, please put trees in your thoughts. We need more. Thank you for your consideration and best wishes for a successful commission.
Thank you, Colin, user 1. I do apologize for those who are joining us who can hear the alarm in the background. Our General Services Department is conducting some emergency tests this morning. And however, they've indicated that these are only tests at this time. So that concludes public comment this morning. I would like to make another announcement that I have received a report that our YouTube audio is not working this morning. So I would encourage users to review our agenda. There is a Zoom link that is working. There's also the 621 City or dial-in numbers that are listed on our agenda that are working. And of course, we welcome all members of the public to join us in person here in our hearing room in room 350 of City Hall. And that concludes public comment on this morning's agenda. And we can now move into agenda item 1. Commissioner Corsan, would you like to take commentary on item number 1? We do have a couple commenters on item number 1 on the virtual platform.
Yes, let's take it first.
Excellent. We will start with Audit LA. Audit LA, we are now on agenda item 1.
Thank you. Good morning again. Okay, this is about electing the officials. I'm mixed and torn. I've been coming here every single meeting since June, right? Since June, and I do appreciate Commissioner Corson a lot. And so it would only make sense that since he's been here the longest, that he should be president, and I don't have an issue with that, especially since a little birdie told me that he may be trying to help with resolve these issues that have come up before the commission for the past, how many months now? But also Mr. Grant, if he's not president, I really severely hope he's the next in line. I don't know whether next in line is VP or pro tem. I don't know. But he's new, but he's also got the second most amount of experience. But I am so impressed with him because when the violations of the Brown Act were occurring in an abusive manner towards the public, he stepped up right away to cure and correct the issue. And and because the city attorney wasn't even being bothered to do anything to it, because they just sit and watch whatever happens. They don't even try to intervene. Unless it's the public who's out of line, then they're the first to jump up. But when it's any board member, city council member who is out of line, they just sit there and, twiddle their thumbs. But not Mr. Grant, Commissioner Grant. He actually said, this is wrong. Or I don't know what he said. I can't say what he said, but I saw him going in between. And then the next thing we know, it was corrected. So it leads me to believe that he intervened and he got things back on track correctly with the Brown Act. Brown Act's very important. Bain Act's very important. So if, so at the very, so I'm torn between who I want for president, one of the two, but it makes sense, of course, in being being there the longest. But
That's 2 minutes.
Mr. Grant has to be first or second in line, period. And then whoever understands the Brown Act.
Thank you. Thank you, Audit LA. That's 2 minutes. And we'll go next to Gigi's phone. Gigi's phone, we're now on item number 1. Go ahead.
So I agree with audit. I think that Corson and
Go ahead.
Grant should be president, vice president. I'm not very, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I want Corson or Grant as president and vice president. I think the two of them have shown that they're for the job. They take their notes, they listen, and they're experienced with what's been going on recently in these meetings. And I think that will make things run smoother. I was looking at information about the new commissioners, and I really liked that Commissioner Chavez says on her resume that she has strong knowledge of the Brown Act. That's very, very important. And that's something I felt that I think, like Audit said, Commissioner Grant sort of fixed that. The city attorney fixed that. Someone fixed that the other day. But Brown Act's been an issue, in my opinion, not just in this meeting, but in some other meetings too. So I'm happy to have you. And then I also hear that there's a judge that's the new commissioner. And I really like that. I like people that know the law being involved. So I'm nothing against them. I just don't think that they should be president or vice president yet, being new at this. But I'm glad that they're on this board. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Gigi's phone. And that concludes public comment for agenda item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Good morning and welcome to the Board of Public Works meeting for November 4th, 2024. I'm now going to turn over the presiding officer duties to Executive Officer TJ Knight.
Thank you. Good morning again. I'm Acting Executive Officer TJ Knight, and this is the only time during the year where the Executive Officer acts as the presiding officer to conduct annual elections. Item number 1 on today's agenda is the annual election of officers for the Board of Public Works. And as required by the city charter and pursuant to our board rules of the Board of Public Works, the board shall elect one of its members as president and one member as vice president, respectively, by a majority vote by open ballot. Commissioners, at this time, I would like to take any nominations that you have for the position of president of the Board of Public Works for the remainder of fiscal year 24-25. Are there any nominations at this time?
Yes, Executive Officer Knight, thank you. I would like to nominate Commissioner Corson for the position of President of the Board of Public Works.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Grant and Commissioner Kang, for seconding that motion. Before we hear deliberations on this motion, I will ask if there are any other nominations for this position. Seeing no other nominations, is there any discussion on this motion? Is there any opposition to this motion? Seeing no opposition, we will go ahead and take a roll call vote on the nomination of Commissioner Corson for the position of President of the Board of Public Works, starting with Commissioner Corson.
Aye.
Commissioner Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Chavez.
Aye.
Commissioner Kang.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. The vote to elect President Corson of the Board of Public Works for the remainder of 24-25 is unanimous. Congratulations, Commissioner Corson.
Thank you.
President Corson. At this time, I will move forward with the next election of officers and take any nominations for the position of Vice President of the Board of Public Works.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Chavez.
Commissioner Mitchell, and second motion.
Thank you, President Corson and Commissioner Mitchell, for seconding that nomination and motion. Before we hear deliberations on this motion, I will ask if there are any other nominations for the position of Vice President. And seeing no other nominations, is there any discussion on this motion? Is there any opposition to this motion? Seeing no opposition, we will now take a roll call vote on the nomination of Commissioner Chavez to the position of Vice President of the Board of Public Works. President Corson.
Aye.
Commissioner Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Chavez.
Aye.
Commissioner Kang.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. The vote to elect Vice President Chavez to the Board of Public Works for the remainder of fiscal year 24-25 is unanimous. Congratulations, Vice President Chavez. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning and joining us. At this time, it is my honor to pass the gavel back over to our newly elected Board of Public Works President, President Corsand. And if you like, we can help you move your seat to the president position.
We will. As my first order of business, I would like to appoint Commissioner Grant as our President Pro Tem without any objections. And without objection, Mr. Knight, I think what we'll do is take a 1-minute quick recess to do some rotating of the chairs.
Very well. Sounds good. Congratulations, President Pro Tem Grant.
All right, now that we're all back, thank you to my colleagues and our fellow new commissioners for your trust, and thank you to Mayor Bass and the administration for the trust to carry on with this work as president of the Board of Public Works. I know we have one more agenda item for today, but seeing as though this is the first board meeting for 3 of our newest commissioners, I'd like to give you an opportunity, maybe 1 minute, to share with those listening in a little bit about yourself and your work, and we'll start with Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jenny Chavez, I am very honored to be serving alongside you and my fellow commissioners. I look forward to continuing my public service to the city of Los Angeles. I've spent most of my professional life working for the city in various capacities, including I served a decade as a chief of staff for council members in Council District 15. I think that one of the things that I look forward to working on is, reinstituting excellent customer service on the side of the board and all of the bureaus. I think that's something that we all value and something that Mayor Bass has made a high priority. So I look forward to serving alongside all of you as we move forward in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez. We'll go to President Pro Tem Grant.
Thank you, President Corsand. It's also my honor to be able to serve with such an eminent board. I spent nearly 45 years with United Food and Commercial Workers Union, taking measures to empower workers at the workplace and extending democracy to where they work, such that they're able to receive the respect and dignity that they're entitled to. And I'm so excited to be part of this board, which in fact, we can set really the infrastructure, which is more than the infrastructure. It really is what defines Los Angeles is how we set ourselves up and how we work together. And I'm looking forward to do that, especially on the area of workforce development.
Thank you. Commissioner Mitchell.
Good morning. My name is Faith Mitchell, and I have spent the last 15 years of my life serving as an administrative law judge for the Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board at some very challenging times economically for the state and the country. My background is I have been a public attorney for cities, other public entities, as well as the Caltrans for a substantial period of time. I'm very familiar with infrastructure and what it means to a community in terms of transportation and other things. I am looking forward to this opportunity and thank Mayor Bass and her team for putting this esteemed team together and making sure that we make Los Angeles the city it can be and that we all want to be in. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. Commissioner Kane.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to congratulate my fellow colleagues, President Corsand, Vice President Chavez and Pro Tem Grant, as well as Commissioner Mitchell. I look forward to working with all of you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Steve King, and I come more from a direct social service nonprofit where we specialized anywhere from mental health, but also to much of the work that we do here at Board of Public Works, from tree planting, graffiti removal, and all of the other beautification services that we perform here at the board. So I am thrilled and excited to get to work, especially with many of the sporting events coming to Los Angeles, but also, as many of our colleagues mentioned earlier, to really improve the level of service here at the board and provide more of a concierge service, as Mayor Bass has outlined in her mission-driven approach to Los Angeles. So thank you, Mr. President, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for taking on this role and this opportunity to serve our city and serve under Mayor Bass. With that, we'll move over to item number 2, which is in all council districts, which is to approve and revise the board rules, the City of Los Angeles Board of Public Works. I know, Mr. Knight, you'll be presenting on this, but do we have public comment?
We do. I also have a proposed amendment to recommendation number 4. Which I would like to offer at this time. So recommendation number 4 authorizes the executive officer to publish the board rules in a daily newspaper in accordance with the LA City Charter Section 506B. And my request for a verbal amendment is to make that subject to satisfaction of items 1 and 2 above. So it's similar language to the end of the recommendation number 3. And so with that, we can go ahead and move to our commentary on item 2 this morning, starting with Audit LA. Audit LA, you'll have 2 minutes to offer your commentary on item number 2.
Thank you, and congratulations to everybody in their new seats. I want to discuss, I love what Vice President Chavez said about the mayor's idea of making everything more, customer friendly. Okay, well, I've been a customer coming to you, okay, since June, as have others, with very serious concerns, everything's very serious. It's not a joke what we've been presenting. And to almost to no avail. And instead of having the situations resolved like we come to you for, instead you're shutting down our speech. You're shutting down our ability to come and present. And I believe there's some neighborhood council people that are going to be speaking on this because the topic did come up at the VANC meeting. And I'm asking you to table this until and for you to solicit the neighborhood councils to see how they feel about it. Because this has been snuck in. This is not your regular meeting time. You snuck this meeting in on a Monday. Okay, with no real notice about what is on, and you don't even make it very clear. You have to look at the package to really realize what you're trying to do. And I get it. I get how the meetings have been chaotic a little bit because you have a lot of people who are absolutely frustrated with coming here since June, seeking very simple things, like opening up a street who's abusing, like Scientology is abusing city services. And if something's happening in the background, whatever, you're not letting the public know. So where's the customer service there? You're not letting us know what's being done. Nothing's being done according to what we see. I still can't access 3 city blocks, in an access vehicle, And so I think it's really, it's sad and it disappoints me. And
Thank you, Audit LA. That's 2 minutes, and we'll move next to Gigi's phone, followed by call-in user 1. Gigi's phone, I see. You should be receiving a pop-up asking you to unmute. Go ahead, you'll have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So this is about the rules, and I tried to read through this. I tried to understand this, but as just like a regular person, it's so hard to understand a lot of stuff that's published. Like, I'm looking at the agenda, and it looks like a different language to me. So I was wondering if there's an ability to make it easier for like the common people to understand, because that would give more transparency to things. I don't know what specific rules are changing. I'm totally lost on this. All I know is that it's item number 2. So I'm asking for help with transparency by making it more common language somehow, or I don't know, like just explaining a bit more detail in it. I tried looking up as much as I could about this. I personally couldn't find anything about it. So I'm asking that you make it easier for people that don't have certain degrees or certain knowledge to follow along and know what's actually going on. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you, Gigi's phone, and we'll move next to call-in user 1. Call-in user 1, go ahead.
Okay, I will utilize my 2 minutes, what seemed to be the last. This seems to be a rather emotional topic because I think this topic, ironically, is day before, as is described as the most consequential day in American history. Someone being assigned female at birth, the federal government has taken away choices. As a CD10 representative, I was denied democracy. I was denied the ability to choose my council member representatives. And this seems to be the cherry on top. I would first like to thank the Board of Public Works for allowing telephonic public comment. This allows members of the public unable to join in person because of family obligations, work, to participate in local government. I want to mention, a previous commenter mentioned that I think there needs to be consideration because, like stated, this meeting is outside the normal parameters of the regular meeting schedule. With that, I understand as a public commenter those bad actors that have, unfortunately, in public comment and in society as general, have made it that rights of law-abiding, hard-working, you know, those hard workers who pay taxes, who pay your salary, are being denied rights because criminal element and mindset are allowed to take over all aspects of society. I would appreciate you could allow the current amount of time to be spoken because, as you understand, public works encompasses so much, it cannot be limited to what you wanted to reduce it to. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, call-in user 1. I do see an additional hand raised on this item. If you like, I can see if the attendee on the Zoom platform wishes to offer commentary on item number 2.
Yes, please.
Excellent. User with Z156CC.
Yes.
Go ahead. Do you have comments on item?
I submitted a written comment to be read out. Are you going to do that or shall I make it now?
So I did notice that I received some public comments received via the Google form. However, they were received about 9:55 a.m. this morning while I was preparing for starting the meeting. So I have not yet distributed them. Once I do access my email, I will distribute those. But if you like, you can read out those comments now into the record.
Thank you. If this passes, I am going to claim the right to sue the city and to have full legal standing to sue the city for any action taken by this board because the limitation on the freedom of speech of individuals is an unacceptable means by which you are limiting the opportunity to have a full discussion and open discussion on the matters that affect every citizen literally in the country, because what happens in LA happens, you lead the country. So if you're going to do this, I want standing in court permanently so that I can come back and sue you. Thank you.
Thank you, user Z5156CC. I didn't realize this was Yvonne Best. We did receive your comments and we did distribute those to all commissioners. We do have one more commenter, Barbara Brody. Barbara, you have 2 minutes to offer your commentary on item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Knight, and thank you, commissioners. Congratulations to you all. I want to go through a list of items. I don't think this should be voted on today. There are things that should be added and considered and reconsidered. Number 1, I hope you will codify calling in and having virtual attendance and participation in your meetings. 2, there is no language that addresses neighborhood council participation and that grants them additional time to speak, whatever that period of time is that you choose to develop. Neighborhood councils are charged with advising the city, and there are many issues that you consider that are relevant to our communities. We need adequate time to respond. I'm speaking as an individual today, not representing my council, because the notice for this meeting met your Brown requirements for notice, but not ours. We too must comply with Brown noticing, and I hope that when you consider issues of importance to the community that you give us adequate time to agendize. Most of the councils meet only once a month, so that is something to keep in mind. If you currently have in your rules the ability of the presiding officer to allow for comment up to 2 minutes. That could be 1 minute, it could be 90 seconds. I see no reason to reduce the time in the language. It sends a terrible message to the public. Your issues are complicated. When we invest time to go through them and to analyze them, we need the time to be able to talk with you and express our opinions and our input, which we hope you listen to. I am sad to tell you, it is sad to tell you that many times it feels as though public comment period is merely a box to be checked off in the process of government, and that our comments are never heard. So you have an opportunity to make them real. I sent some
Thank you,
additional
Barbara.
comments. Placement, we did not hear Mr. Knight's report, so we can't comment on anything that's brought up in reports that have
Thank
not
you,
been
Barbara. I'm going to
provided.
go ahead and put you on mute. And so that's 2 minutes for your public comment, Barbara. I would just like to quickly address one of the comments that was made by Gigi's phone. The board's agendas and the entire packet for each board meeting is available to all members of the public and everyone at the website dpw.lacity.gov. If you go in and go to Commissioner's Boardroom and then download agendas, it does have access to all of our published packets, the full packet, including the transmittal that we're about to address today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. And that is how I am accessing the packet myself. Did you want to continue with the presentation?
Sure. I would like to also make a quick point of clarification that are on the transmittal today, which is the board rules or the proposed revised board rules for 2024. The revised Rule 22 currently has language that refers to Rule 21. Let me state that again. The revised Rule 22 currently refers to Rule 21, and that is a typographical error. The reference should be to Rule 22. So the last clause of Rule 22 would read, are subject to Rule 22, not Rule 21. And so with that, let me state that the proposed board rules in this board report are related to Rule 5, Rule 13, and Rule 14. And these changes are intended to allow the board to conduct business more efficiently, while also bringing consistency between the board rules and council rules on general public comment and agenda item public comment. So I'll go through the proposed changes. Currently, Rule 5 provides a list of business categories and establishes an order to consider said business categories, with the addition of a new proposed business category: multiple agenda item public comment. It is recommended to prioritize this new category in third order following general public comment. Rule 13, public comment on agenda items. Currently, Rule 13 allows board members of the public to speak on an agenda item on agenda items for up to 2 minutes per item. If they wish to address multiple items, each member of the public may do so in 2-minute increments for a total of 10 minutes, up to 10 minutes per meeting. The proposed revisions would allow members of the public wishing to speak on one item to speak for up to 1 minute. It would also create a new segment at or near the beginning of the meeting called multiple agenda item comment. During this time, a member of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item shall be allowed to speak for up to 1 minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. Rule 14, general public comment. Currently, Rule 14 allows general public comment for up to 2 minutes per person for a cumulative total of 20 minutes. The proposed revision would allow general public comment for up to 1 minute for a cumulative total of 10 minutes. And again, I stated the Rule 22 typographical error that currently refers to Rule 21. I would just like to make one other note on, I believe it's Rule 1. So the board wishes to propose to allow meetings to be held at the Van Nuys City Hall upon the concurrence of the commissioners. The Office of the City Attorney, Board of Public Works General Counsel has reviewed and approved these board rules. Therefore, it is recommended that the board adopt this report and the recommendations contained herein to amend the board rules.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Our City Attorney, Mr. Costello-Vega, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you, President Corisand. So just a few notes just to help clarify for the board and the members of the public listening in. There are also revisions to the rules of decorum for consistency with the City Council rules and to conform with rules regarding disruptions of public meetings in accordance with the First Amendment. And one clarifying note about what the action that is being taken today is the board would be acting to receive the rule change and then hold it over to next Wednesday's meeting. And at next Wednesday's meeting is when there would be the formal vote to approve or reject the revised rules.
Mr. Crane?
This coming Wednesday or a week from Wednesday?
Thank you for asking that question. Next Wednesday, so a week from this coming Wednesday.
Thank you. And just to be clear, again, we are this is not a special meeting. Our Monday meetings have consistently been in the board rules that currently exist. We have just not held a regular Monday meetings as they have been canceled since the spring of 2020. So this was not an agendized special meeting, but an agendized regular meeting as our current board rules state. Along with some of the other changes that we're going to propose, we're going to be more accessible now coming back 3 days a week. We are going to have meetings in Van Nuys City Hall to give our Valley folks an opportunity to give in-person remarks and comments on agenda items. And again, this is to align our board rules with the standing rules at City Council and City Council Committee. With that, I will open it up to any of our commissioners with any comments. Vice President Chavez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I, for one, am really pleased to see that we are restoring the third meeting. I think in our goal to increase accountability and transparency, having an additional meeting is going to go a long way to hearing from the public and having that dialogue. I appreciate the changes to the board rules. Mr. City Attorney, you had mentioned that this aligns us with the City Council rules. So does that mean that the time limits on general public comment and also for specific items, the multiple agenda item, that puts us in line with council? Is that correct?
Yes, so Deputy City Attorney Thomas Costello-Vega speaking. That's correct. The City Council rules, which were adopted in 2019, have a multiple agenda item comment period where members of the public are allowed to speak for up to 1 minute per item for a total cumulative 3 minutes. And that is what the revised rules contain for the agenda item comment. And then the time limits for general public comment for 1 minute and up to a total of 10 minutes per meeting at the discretion of the presiding officer are also consistent with the same time limits in the council rules.
Thank you for that clarification. I support this modification. I think it will help us be more efficient in our work with the city, also with the addition of the third meeting and including meetings that are going to be out in the Valley in Van Nuys City Council or in City Hall. I hope to see from more members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez. And then related to that, City Attorney, if you wanted to clarify on the public comment on neighboring councils.
Yes, thank you, President Corsand. One other note to clarify, just so everyone's aware and for the public's benefit, is that neighborhood council input is something that is required by the Los Angeles Administrative Code. It's Administrative Code Section 22.819. And that is something that the board does and will continue to be required to follow, regardless of whether the rules also specify it. It's not legally required for the rules to restate obligations that already exist in the administrative code. But I do want to clarify that that requirement is there.
Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Kang.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, for that clarification. I think with that, and want to echo what the Vice President has said earlier, I think this allows for more opportunities for the public to weigh in, not just here in downtown Los Angeles, but in the Valley. But also, we would love to bring many of these meetings to you in your respective communities. So I'm in support.
Thank you. No other comment from our commissioners. I will make the motion to move as amended forthwith if there is a second.
I will second.
Actually, can I ask you to restate your motion so that it is not moved forthwith? Typically, we move all of our items forthwith, but this particular item, since it will be heard again on Wednesday, the 15th, we would ask that the motion be for it to be approved, but not forthwith.
Okay. Motion to approve as amended. I believe, go ahead.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez. Mr. Knight, we have a first from myself and a second from Vice President Chavez.
Yeah, excellent. And we will take a roll call vote on approval as amended for item number 2, starting with you, President Corsand.
Yes.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Kang.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell.
Aye.
All ayes. Item number 2 is adopted as amended and will be referred to the mayor. I do just want to state that we do have one item of business that we did not take up on this morning's agenda, and that is approval of minutes for the meeting of October 16th. And I apologize if you were about to mention that.
I totally slipped on that one. I will motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. We have a first from myself and a second from Commissioner Kang.
Excellent. We'll take a roll call vote on approval of minutes for October 16th, starting with you, President Corsand.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Kang.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell.
No, with the provision that I've not been able to access those minutes.
Excellent. So it approves not unanimous, but on a vote of 4-1.
Thank you. And does that clear our desk?
It does.
Thank you, everyone. And we are adjourned at 10:53.